everybody, this is Z Curator from Tumblr, and it is very late Saturday night, and I am here to do my video log for Once Upon a Time, Season 3, Episode 6, Ariel. And yes, again, I know it is egregiously late. I never seem to have time to do these things unless it's really late at night. So, without further ado, I'm not going to summarize anything because I know you guys have seen it and debated about it and gifted and all that stuff. So, and again, not a spoiler-free zone. Oh yeah, and then of course Tumblr broke again with more Captain Swan spoilers or pictures that were pretty freaking awesome. And again, we still don't know whether those pictures are from episode 11 or 12. It seems leaning more toward 12 at this point. I'll wait and see. Before I get into 6, as for any spoilers having anything to do with episode 7, Dark Hollow, the snippet that ABC accidentally let go, I'm not going to discuss that because that is quite huge and not everybody read it. So I don't want to give away details for an episode we haven't watched yet. I will, however, talk about the sneak peek because everyone's been discussing that one. So, and I do have a few things to say about that. But anyway, back to episode 6. First, I want to give props to Gil McKinney, who played Eric, and Joanna Garcia Swisher, who played Ariel. The Little Mermaid is one of my favorite stories from when I was a kid, next to Beauty and the Beast. So I've been kind of looking forward to this for a while. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I gotta say, the moment that Gil came walking down those steps as Eric, there was a big ol' smile on my face. He was more than perfect. I mean, I was just all aglow. He was great, and since we already have seen pictures that he is in Storybrooke, I'm really glad, and I hope that we get to see more of him. The Ariel storyline, I mean, obviously was meant more to move the plot along and to parallel what was going on in Neverland in the present day, so it didn't get as much attention as I think we all would have liked. But I know that Ariel's story isn't over. I mean, she's in Storybrooke now, so hopefully we'll get to see more of her story. We'll get to learn more about her as a character and find out, and maybe we'll have some flashbacks about when she rescued Eric and stuff like that. We're obviously going to find that we're obviously going to see them meet, and she's going to have to explain to him why it was that she didn't show up. Gotta say that the episode from start to finish just broke my heart. The flashbacks were really quick, but they put in just enough nods to the movie that it was very satisfying. Like the Dingle Hopper fork and her stabbing Regina in the neck was probably one of the best scenes of the whole episode. I was like, damn if that couldn't have been Snow, because Snow wanted to be able to do the same thing. Props to Joanna for being able to portray Ariel's sense of wonder at the human world and her curiosity and the fact that, unlike the other mermaids, she's actually very sweet and very kind, and she's really a loving person that just wants more than what her life has given her. She wants to be something other than what she is, and she has dreams, and she has this love that she wants, and I think Snow understood that. and that's why they kind of connected the way that they did. If anybody knows what it's like to fight, to have to fight for what you want, it's Snow. So I really enjoyed that friendship, and I hope that they pursue more of that once they get back to Storybrooke. I'd love to see her and Belle and Ariel doing a little friendship thing with, you know, the three princesses. I think that would just be cool. And Snow needs more friends, you know? She really does. So flashbacks were very good. I wasn't particularly impressed with the CGI for Regina with the Ursula thing, and we all kind of called the fact that we knew that she wasn't actually going to be Ursula, but that she was going to be pretending to be her, so that wasn't really a surprise. I thought that Lana did a really amazing job, you know, trying to nod to Pat, who was the actress that provided the voice for Ursula in the cartoon. She, you know, put her own little twist on it, but I think she did it with real grace and real and the performance was strong. It was funny. It was kitschy. It was, you know, it wasn't like in the movie, but you can't expect it to be, because she can't be Pat. Although the voice, it was like she was trying to do a combination of Pat and Sebastian, which is weird. But yeah, the only thing that I didn't like was the CGI effects. I wasn't surprised that they were kind of subpar, because once this had that kind of issue. But that's not really something that I focus on too terribly much. That was the only CGI really was in the episode, aside from Ariel's fin, which they actually did really decently. The CGI that they did for her fin was practically flawless. And I did hear, from what I remember behind the scenes, that she was actually wearing something that looked like a fin, so that little, you know, circles, little bulbs on it, so that they could do the 3D mapping or whatever. But what they did with her was absolutely flawless. Again, another instance where I've said that in the flashbacks, if you go less on the CGI, more on the emotion of the story, it comes off much, much better. I did like what they did, that little twist at the end with Regina looking in the mirror and Ursula, or at least the sigil of her on the concrete wall comes out and comes through the mirror and is like, don't do that, you try that one more time, I'm going to kill you, you know. I don't think we'll see the real Ursula, but it was a nice little touch there. Now, back to Neverland at present. So this episode was had to do a lot with inner turmoil, secrets, and truths, which is kind of mirroring what was going on with Ariel. She was struggling whether or not to tell Eric the truth about her being a mermaid. She wanted to be with him, but she felt like she wasn't sure if he would be able to accept who she was. And she was about to tell him, but, you know, she got conned by Regina, who was really after Snow, saying that Eric would never accept her. And even though she went after him anyway, she never got the chance to tell him because Regina took her voice. And, you know, it really is true. What's worse, him not accepting you or you never knowing? That's infinitely worse, because you never had the chance to actually tell him, so you'll never know whether he would have accepted you or not. So she's lived with that, and that's why she was so excited when Regina gave her the bracelet back and told her to swim to Storybrooke to get whatever they needed from Rumpel's shop that would help them take down Pan, because Eric was there. She'd be able to have legs, control over her legs, and she'd be able to be with Eric. So she was more than happy to comply. So secrets were a big deal in this episode. Um, Hook. I know we were all like fist pump. Suck it, Pan. You know, we all kind of called the fact that we were sure he was going to say something in this episode, referring to the fact that Neil, you know, was not dead. We just weren't sure how it was going to go down. We knew that he was going to say it. We just weren't sure how. You know, what we weren't expecting was that he was going to do it so fast. I mean, this episode literally took up right where the last one ended, because when he comes out of the bushes, it's 5 minutes after he's kissed Emma and after his conversation with Pan. Boom. And he immediately tells Snow and Charming while Regina and Emma are off trying to do magic together. And they're contemplating whether or not to tell Emma, because they're not sure if this is just one of Pan's tricks or if it's real. You know, Hook doesn't want her to get her hopes up, only for them to be dashed if Neil really is dead and it's just a trick. But, oh, Snow, you had one job. You had one job. But, you know, never tell Snow a secret. So, the only part of this episode that confused me was we saw Pan take Neil in the cage to the Echo Cave. Okay, great. But how did the rest of them know that Neil was in the Echo Cave? They never saw Pan take him to the Echo Cave, so how did they just figure that out? Unless they were following a trail. I really can't say. This is after Regina's skedaddles, and I'm not going to talk too much about the Regina and Rumpel scenes, although none of us were really surprised to find out that Belle wasn't Belle. I mean, obviously, it's not the real freaking Belle. But if you would listen to her tone and the things that she was saying to him and all the times that she came to him, she was saying things that we know the real Belle would never say. So, it wasn't a surprise that it turned out to be Pan's shadow. Anyway, and it also was not a surprise that Regina buggered off. We were kind of waiting for that to happen, because all she's done since she's been with them is bitch and moan and cry and gripe about how she can't use her magic and she feels like they're wasting time. So it was a matter of time before she decided to strike out on her own and do whatever she needs to save Henry, because she feels like she has no obligation to Neil, and she doesn't believe what Pan said in the slightest. She thinks he's just trying to lead them off track, and she wants to keep herself focused on Henry. So, okay. Well, anyway, they get led to the Echo Cave, and Hook is quick to warn them that the cave is a very dangerous place, hence the reason why there are no guards. And when they ask him why, he says, well, I lost half of my crew to its walls, because you can't proceed within that cave unless you give up a secret. The cave demands your deepest and darkest, and if you don't speak truthfully, the cave will know in your echo, and you're going to get killed, because the bridge won't come out, and you can't jump, so you'll die. Emma's like, really? I think that she's at a point where she's about 1,000,000% done with this place, and she just wants to go home. But it was very interesting when they told her, or when Snow told her that Neil was alive. She doesn't look to them for confirmation. She looks to Hook. It's astounding to me how much she has come to trust him. She might not say it in so many words, but she does. She has come to absolutely trust him. She has come to lean on him. He has become her rock, her support. He's become the one person that she knows that she can turn to, because she can't deal with her parents and the way that they deal with things. It's smothered her too much, you know, and there's too much residual resentment there, I guess. They don't quite know how to be mom and dad, and she hasn't accepted them as mom and dad, so it's a very weird predicament. Hook, on the other hand, knows what she needs intrinsically. Like, he can read her without even trying. I think it frightens her how well he can do that, but it's what she needs. She needs someone who understands her. So when they go in the cave, she's hesitant. You don't know why until it comes time for her to tell her secret. Sometimes I think all shows need echo caves, because good lord, Hook's. I have to give props to Colin this whole episode, and Jen, up and down. Oh my god. Anyone who says that Colin was not sincere in this episode is blind and brain dead. That man castigated himself in front of her, knowing that he had to give the secret up in order to make the bridge work, so she could get to Neil. He was giving himself up, throwing his heart out there without any expectation whatsoever, knowing that in the end he was probably going to lose her anyway. And it just, the look on his face, it just broke his heart. I mean, his heart was being torn to shreds. But he finally came out and said, and I couldn't even believe he said it. My jaw was that he didn't think he could ever move on from Mila until he met her. And through her, he began to realize it was possible to find someone else other than his first love. Ding, 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 ding! First love. Right there. Thank you very much. So, for anybody else out there that is so utterly sure that Mila was his true love, yeah, I think that got negated. The look on... it's very subtle, but when Hook confesses that he kissed Emma, at first she's all, really? It was just a kid, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all know that it wasn't just a kiss. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. We all know that it wasn't just a kiss, but when he confesses his secret, you can see the look, her face just drops. Like, her eyes kind of go a little bit wider, her mouth just, because she can't believe that he's saying this to her, because in not so many words, without actually saying the words, he confessed his love without actually saying it. But still, he did, and it was no coincidence as the camera panned to Snow's face. She was floored, because once again, when Emma told Mary Margaret that she kissed Hook, she wanted advice about Hook. She did not want her to say, oh, well, Neil will understand. Snow, get off the Neil train. I totally agree with all you guys out there that were saying that, you know, the reason why she reacts this way about Neil is because she doesn't know anything else besides first love, true love, because Charming was that for her, and where she comes from, it's all about that. She's never had this experience where you could have more than one great love of your life. And it's just one of those things about Emma that she doesn't quite grasp, you know. But when Hook revealed that, and she saw the reaction on Emma's face, she realized right then how wrong she really had been, and that she misread the whole situation. Um, it was no surprise her confession about feeling like she was cheated out of being a mother and wanting to have another baby. I felt really bad for Emma, because Emma has felt all of her life like she was never wanted, never able to be loved, never good enough, and I don't think Snow meant it to be malicious at all. She loves her daughter very much, but I think she could have worded it a little bit better. Because the look on Emma's face was just devastated. Like, she felt as though, you know, she wasn't enough because they didn't find her until she was grown. So I think maybe her and Snow might have to have a conversation about that. And of course, Charming finally reveals the truth about the Dream Shade and the fact that he can't leave. And Snow is pissed. But there's nothing for it, you know. The bridge is finally there, so Emma goes. She tries to hack cage open, but Neil tells her, that's not how this works. So she has to reveal a secret of her own. Oh God, Jen. This one is like the queen of emotional dialogue. Whew. But she said exactly what needed to be said, and did it surprise us? Not in the least. I mean, we've always known that this is how she felt, and for the Swan Thiefers and Swan Firers, whatever, we have never denied the fact that Emma loves Neil. She will always love Neil. A part of her will always love him. He was the first great love of her life. He is the father of her son. He was the first home she had. He taught her how to love. So, of course, we will not deny the history that the two of them have, but there is a large cosmetic difference between loving someone and being in love. The whole time she was saying it, she didn't even really want to say it. She didn't even want to walk down that bridge to go talk to him in the first place. She as a matter of fact, when they first walked into the cave, as soon as she saw him and he was like, Emma, she took a step back. She was like, oh God, it was easier for her to believe that he was dead. And that's what she wanted when she had said that her secret was that she wished that it was a trick and that he really was dead, because she would rather him be dead, and it'd be easier for her to be able to move on than for him to still be alive and have to deal with that pain all over again. Yes, Emma Swan wants to move on, just like Hook. They both want to move on. And I'm grateful that Neil showed enough forethought to keep his mouth shut. But of course, when they left the cave, everything got all awkward. Snow and Charming were really not talking to each other. Snow's pissed, and I think that's going to come out in tomorrow's episode. Neil says to her that his secret is that he will never stop fighting for her. It's nice that he wants to be there for her, but he's totally disregarding what she just told him. She doesn't want him back. The relationship's over. She even said to him point blank, I can't change how I feel no matter how much I might want to. I can't. I don't want you back. There's not going to be any more us. It's over and it's done. And Hook, this whole time, is the look on his face when he watched Emma and Neil embrace in that cave. Just rips your heart out, because he literally had to just rip his heart out of his chest and hand it to her by confessing that, knowing that this would give her the chance to reunite with her, who in his mind is her true love, and he doesn't know anything different. He did not hear her secret, just like Neil did not hear his. And this goes right into episode 7. This ends with Emma, or with Killian, looking back as the two of them are talking, and I'm not so sure how much of the conversation that he heard, but the look on his face, he's definitely hurting, and he feels like he's losing her. But Killian is an honorable man, and this is a difficult thing for him, because as much as he cares about Emma, he also cares about Neil. As that little boy that, is the son of the woman that he once loved for 3 centuries. But I think sooner rather than later, he's going, probably by the end of this coming episode, he's going to realize that Neil is not Bay. Or at least the Bay that he remembers. Okay. All I'm going to say about Dark Hollow is I'm not sure what's going to be happening with Charming and Snow, or why they decide to split up. I could only assume that Emma tells Snow and Charming to go on to keep using the map and go search for Henry, while Neil, Emma, and Hook split off and go to the Dark Hollow to capture Pan's shadow. Meanwhile, there's going to be some stuff going on in Storybrooke where Ariel shows up to ask for Belle's help to get whatever the object is that Rumpelstiltskin needs from his shop. While two young men show up from the outside world. Apparently they got in there before Belle cast that spell. And they work for the Home Office. Now, these were the 2 people that were cast as Keychain and Glasses. The real names weren't put in there, but we're almost 100% sure that they are John and Michael Darling. Because we already have had confirmation that the person in the other cage that was next to Neil is Wendy. So we're pretty sure that the 2 of them have also been manipulated by Pan, but they're searching for their sister. That's what we're pretty sure of. We don't know what's going to happen other than the fact that the 2 of them are holding Belle and Ariel at gunpoint, but you could see all of that in the behind the scenes pictures. That's all that we know for sure at this point. I'm assuming they're going to try and get them to stop using magic or whatever, but the sneak peek with Ariel, the sneak peek with Neil, Hook, and Emma was, oh god, how do I even say this? Awkward. Now, I've read a lot of posts all day about this particular, about this scene. Everybody's opinions seem to be different. I'm going to put my own spin on this. Alright. Yes, the scene is awkward. No denying that. Did Killian tell Neil this on purpose as a dig? Just to make him feel bad? Or just screw with him? No. Killian didn't even know that Neil was unaware of this kiss. You could tell that by the look on his face. He was being completely genuine. Look, you have to understand Killian's point of view. 300 years prior, he destroyed, or he feels as though he totally screwed over this poor kid. Even though it was Mila's choice to leave, this kid lost his family. I know that Hook cares about Bay, Neil, whatever, and he doesn't want him to get hurt again. So once he realizes that, oh shit, I did this, I need to come clean so he'll know what happened, so he knows where we all stand, and he doesn't think that I'm trying to do anything untoward. And that's what he was doing. He was being honest. And when he realized that Neil had no idea what he was talking about, that little smirk wasn't a smirk of, yeah, fucker, I kissed her. No. That was kind of how best to explain it? It was kind of a, oh, really? Type of smirk. Like, seriously? Seriously? She didn't say anything. Really? It was more of like a light bulb going off over his head type smirk. Not a screw you dude, smirk. No. I think for a couple seconds there he felt a little bit stupid and a little bit foolish. Not surprising because he went and blurted something that he should probably not have blurted. But, he was being sincere. He didn't want to hurt Neil. So he was being honest. Period. End of statement. He wasn't trying to, purposely goad him. He wasn't trying to make him feel bad. He wasn't throwing anything in his face. Now, I reblogged a post that had the link to the scene, and I added a little blurb down there, and someone reblogged that and added a big old paragraph, and when I read it, I realized that they were a swan thiefer. Now, putting shipper dynamics aside, alright, Killian was doing the honorable thing by being honest and forthright and saying, yes, this happened. I hope there's no hard feelings. Dude, I'm sorry. We thought you were dead, and it kind of just happened. I hope that this won't cause an issue. I'm not trying to make a repeat of what happened before with your mother. I know a lot of you guys were saying, well, at least he was being mature in the fact that he wasn't yelling and screaming and lashing out. And yes, that's good. But I think you guys missed the point. The look on Neil's face when Hook admitted this was almost worse than if he'd been screaming. I almost wish he was. Because at least there would have been some emotion going on. Other than internal screaming. Because at least if Neil got in his face, Hook would know how to handle that. And he could have put that to bed. I'm not talking about being violent, but I'm just saying he could have put it to bed. But the way Neil didn't react is almost scarier. And very reminiscent, actually, of Rumple. Rumple doesn't always get mouthy. Trust me, Rumple is actually one of those quiet evils. And I'm not saying that Neil is evil, by no means. But I could tell by the look in his eyes, he was seething. Yes, he was calm. Eerily so. And as soon as the words came out of his mouth, our son, oh, right there. He was putting up a wall. He was trying to show Hook that, yeah, you don't belong in this equation. Our son, Emma, and me, not you, go the fuck on. He was trying to, put a divider up there saying, yeah, this is not you. This is her and me. And I looked at that like, really? Really? Okay, yeah, Henry's your son, but you don't own Emma. Frankly, Neil really has no right to be pissed about Hook kissing Emma. Hook did nothing wrong. Nothing at all. And he was actually trying to be very forthright and honest by telling him in the first place. He wasn't throwing it in his face. He was trying to apologize. Neil lost the right to have any opinion about who Emma sees or kisses or anything 11 fucking years ago when he left her. He really has no right to even judge whatsoever. And if Emma had been there and heard this, she probably would have said the same thing. And then probably would have gone on to tell them both to shut the hell up about her personal life and focus on Henry, which is probably what's going to happen by the end of the episode, which again does not surprise us whatsoever. We already know that, you know, there isn't going to be anything major on the relationship front until they get back to Storybrooke. Her focus at this point is her son, as it should be. And that's the way that it's going to stay until episode 10 when they all come back. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go, because with the three of them alone, stuff's gonna come out. I already know some things because I read that little snippets, but I don't want to reveal anything because I know that not all of you guys have read it. I really want to say, but I'm because, like I said, I know that not all of you guys have actually read it, so I don't want to spoil. Even though I said that this vlog was not a spoiler-free zone, that part of it is because this episode hasn't aired yet. So I'm trying to save y'all guys that grief. But yeah, anybody that sees Neil not having attitude in that scene is blind. The quiet seething spoke volumes. Even Emma could feel it. The minute she walked into that room, she was like, what? She could sense that tension within seconds. Trust me, it was there. A majority of which was on Neil's part. And Hook saying, "Are you daft?" in reference to the coconut. Do you honestly think that Hook's gonna sit back and let Neil shit all over him? Because you could tell it was starting to ping pong. Slightly. When they were talking about what the plan was for the coconut light thing to trap Pan's shadow. Neil was starting to get a little testy, and Hook, I think, was just kind of, you know, defending himself. Hook's not... Killian is not one to sit back and let himself get walked on. Period. It will be nice to see Emma get to be badass. I feel like we're kind of missing out on that. We don't get as much of badass Emma as we would like. But I suppose we'll see that in this episode, as well as more tension between the three of them. Now, the pictures that were released of the recent filming, that was for episode 11 and 12. Ooh, conversation in the bug. That is a big deal. The only other person she's ever allowed into that bug was Henry. So they get to have a full 2-minute conversation in that bug. Does anyone notice with those pictures how close together that they've become? And they're alone too. And she's wearing a skirt. A skirt! Ah! A skirt. Emma Swan doesn't dress up for very many people. Not that I'm saying that she did it. I'm not saying she did it deliberately. But, I mean, us saying that was a date, I guess, is kind of wishful thinking. Still. We're kind of confident that by the time episode 12 comes around, which we'll pick up in March, that even if they're not officially together, that they will be well on their way towards it. I think, like everyone else does, that whatever this triangle is not going to last long. Emma is not like that. She wouldn't let that happen in the first place. pretty sure that she's gonna nip that in the bud. I don't know what the men are gonna do, but I know that Hook will respect whatever decision she makes, and he will give her the space to deal with it. I don't know how Neil is gonna react necessarily. I hope to God they don't earn the ire of Rumple as a result. But I think Rumple will be way too focused on things going on with Pam to even worry about Emma and Hook. Because I don't want to see Neil go dark. I really don't. I want him to repair his relationship with his father. I want him to have more of a relationship with Henry. I want to see him grow as a character. I really do. He's a decent guy. He just makes bad decisions and bad verbal diarrhea that comes out of his mouth. So that is my vlog for Ariel, and I will see you guys again in a couple of days for my video log for Dark Hollow. Alright, well, good night, and happy viewing in a couple of hours, and see you guys later. Peace out.